if they haven't had the same problem as me, maybe I can trick them on some level, or maybe I can't completely trust them on some level. They don't really understand kind of thing. So there's something about knowing when someone has had the same issues that you can actually connect with them on a different level.
They've actually been through it.
Yeah.
So interview number 2.
Yes.
You're back up in Vancouver, which is amazing. I'm glad you made it.
Totally.
And I'm stoked to dive in on what you've been learning since we talked last, your involvement with AA community.
Yeah.
And just anything you've been going through in life.
Totally.
And you had a interesting experience coming through the border up into Canada.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you want to start with that, but
yeah, I think so. So I'm taking the bus across the border, and we hit the border, and when you cross the bus on the border, you all have to get out, and we're going through the line, and you have like the customs and the immigration, and the border guards had a drug dog, and they come up to see if the dogs can smell anything, and they come up to me, and the dog, like, for whatever reason, smelled something on me, and so they were like, okay, we'll pull you aside. And so they pull me aside, and they like, do you have any cannabis on you? And I was like, no. I felt super relaxed because like I'm in long-term recovery. I don't, so we're all good. And so like, do you have anything on you? Is there anything we're gonna find? I'm like, no. So they start pulling my stuff apart, and I gotta really hand it to them. It was an awesome experience because it just opened up conversation, and I was, able to say, oh, I'm in long-term recovery. As a matter of fact, one of the things I'm gonna do when I come up across the border is do interview number 2 with this podcast. It's all about addiction and recovery. And so that just opened up a whole conversation, and they were asking me questions. And at first they were kind of like, we're kind of testing each other. And I just got to say, it felt really freeing and open to be able to just answer the questions so directly, and honestly. And then they started to be curious. They're like, well, what was your drug of choice? Oh, it was, heroin. And then they start asking me opinions about what's happening on the downtown east side. And then, how did you start? And we just got into this long conversation. I mean, as long as it took for them to tear my stuff apart. And they were the nicest guys. And I actually see it as a total blessing. And I shared with them the interview of the first episode.
Oh, so you sent them the link to the first interview?
We got on, and I was like, and they looked it up, and they saw me, and I was like, it would mean so much to me if you watched it. And so, I think that,
wow,
considering the connection that we had, and like, I think that, at least one of the guys, like, it was just really cool. It actually felt really like a good, like, sincere
moment that kind of perfectly invites you back into Vancouver for episode number 2.
Yes.
I'm like wishing we were there and we got some B-roll of that.
Oh man,
to splice in.
I should have taken a picture of them taking my. I don't know.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, but
is that for you?
Cool.
Is that kind of a little sign of like, oh, I'm on the right path?
Well, yeah, and especially when I can be in that situation and actually be super relaxed, and not feel like I'm at the border, they're tearing my stuff apart. Am I gonna, who knows what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get busted.
That's a good story to tell Puya and Alex and them. The border guards have kind of a knowledge about the recovery scene in Vancouver.
Yeah. I mean, it actually made me very curious. I'm like, wow, how about that's a whole different perspective, law enforcement perspective, and like what they, I don't know what the border guards, what the difference is between them and, the cops on the downtown east side, but obviously they know enough about it that, I mean, you kind of can't ignore it living in Vancouver. But, yeah.
Sweet. I love it. Yeah, I remember when you sent me that message, you were all excited. You're like, I I got pulled. I got searched.
And it was awesome.
Yeah. Okay, I'm curious since since interview number 1, what's been going on, generally speaking, in your life? What's most prevalent for you?
Okay. So
the first thing that pops into mind that you'd love to share?
Yeah, so there's been a few big shifts. Number one, this is on a more personal note, but I went through a big breakup. And so, it's a personal note, but that really involves life skills and, even tools within recovery. Very, very challenging, I would say, after 4 years, having a relationship fall apart. So that's been a big thing. And within that, there's been a really, a new wave of me really getting more involved in AA again. So there is a brilliant recovery scene where I live in Humboldt County in California. And I've gotten, I've had the gift of becoming close with the men's group, the men's meeting there. So even though I don't drink coffee, I'm the coffee guy that shows up and gets to make coffee and help set up the meeting.
Yeah.
So there's something really valuable that's been such a gift. It really, I think when having a men's group, a men's meeting, we're able to just share maybe things and connect in a way that you don't necessarily do in an open meeting of that has both men and women. So
was it? Yeah. I'm curious. Was it going through that breakup that kind of made you lean into a bit of that?
Yeah, I think so. It certainly was involved in it. I feel like I don't really know how to explain it other than part of it is realizing the gift that there's something that I know that I can bring into the world that has to do with helping people that have come before me that need some kind of, whether it's sponsoring someone within the program or just some kind of mentorship of helping someone improve their lives, someone that's become lost in addiction or in alcoholism. And I've had a lot of questions over the years of what's my place there, like how can I give back, because I feel like it's kind of a crucial part of like really being involved in recovery, of like really giving back. So I think that's probably been the biggest part of it, is like seeing it as a way that I can give back.
What are some of the moments, I'm curious, that let you know that you are valuable to this community? Maybe some of the feedback you got or some of the conversations you had, if one or two pop into mind that really let you know that, oh, wow, I'm needed here. I'm making a difference. Like, 'cause I'm sure you saw some of those, heard some of those. What are like a few moments?
I feel like that's happened frequently over the years, whether it's been within the program of AA or just in the broader context of self-development, or even within Vancouver when I was really going through my personal transformation. I got a lot of help with processing trauma. And there's a mentor that I have here in town. His name's Mihail. And so he had a center of helping people with trauma. So since I was a client of his and I had such a big experience, he would like invite me to speak at times. I also feel like there's something about over the duration of my life where I naturally fall into a place where I in some way become a counselor in some sort of fashion, when it comes to helping friends or, connecting with friends. And I, especially because I've, basically spearheaded a whole new direction in life and seeking solutions. People become interested.
So the seeds kind of were planted here in Vancouver for that.
Absolutely.
Understanding that you had value to give in that community of recovery.
For sure.
And I'm curious, for you, what makes a recovery scene brilliant and what makes it actually valuable. I'm sure there's different levels and layers of how valuable different scenes are.
Yeah,
but for you, what are some of the key points where you are now that let you know that this is valuable for you and for them? What makes a men's group / recovery scene valuable?
Right. And I would say it's not just the men's group. There's just great meetings in particular where I live, but I maybe just emphasizing the men's group because that's the one I've become most part of. I feel like, how do I answer that question? Being able to show up in a place and know that you're not judged based on how far your life deteriorates. I think there's a certain capability that a person can develop when you've completely collapsed and gone all the way down to the bottom, and then you basically, the whole process of recovery really is a lifelong journey, but there's somewhere in the midst of that where, and maybe this just is a personal experience where I'm like, oh my God, look at how far I've actually come. I'm able to help someone with a level of sincerity, knowing that I'm actually working on myself and healing. Because I do feel that one of the best ways for a person to heal is from someone who has had the same issue, I guess. So someone that really understands what it is to have that problem. I know that from personal experience, when I would be really having my issues in the downtown east side here, if I would have a counselor who hadn't, and whether this was in my mind or not, I don't really know, but I almost felt like if they haven't had the same problem as me, maybe I can trick them on some level, or maybe I can't completely trust them on some level. They don't really understand kind of thing. So there's something about knowing when someone has had the same issues that you can actually connect with them on a different level.
They've actually been through it.
Yeah.
Or at least some tough times.
Yeah.
They know how to get through that.
Yeah.
I think maybe the deeper insights come.
Yeah. Yeah, people that have actually just gone through hardship in general, I think is maybe one of the keys.
And the other piece where you said about just being in a place where you're not judged, non-judgmental, which I think is so powerful for people because in their head, I know I've done this in my own head about other stuff. If I'm around someone that is non-judgmental, that judgmental part of my own mind kind of loosens up, relaxes. Totally. It's like unconditional love.
Yeah.
It's kind of what we all want, and we got to learn to give it to ourselves. But when you're in a community, I imagine that has that for you. Yeah, well, it's safe.
I know from experience, when I first went into the rooms in AA, I was so lost in my head, and I would show up to meetings high. I was so lost internally that, to me, anyone that had even strung a year together or a few years was almost like a superhero. I just couldn't even fathom what that was like and how someone could do that. So it's really important, I feel like, to be able to kind of reflect and remember what it can be like for someone when they first walk through the door.
So that when they do, and you're there holding the space or mentoring, you maybe, I imagine, maybe less bombarding them with this is the way it is, and more of just allowing them meeting them where they're at.
Meeting them where they're at, yeah.
And just being patient and accepting.
Yeah, which, it's like, I'm still learning all this. I'm not claiming to have mastered this, but I feel like it's really important to get our own egos out of the way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So there's a fine line between being able to kind of shine a light on things and show them possibilities, but not overwhelm with throwing too much on them. You know,
Yeah.
like what does it take to take one little step at a time,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to get just from point A to point B to point C to point D, instead of looking at Z and saying, this is where you know, this is where you
should
go.
be.
Yeah.
And that's overwhelming for a lot of people.
Totally.
It's like, what's the
Exactly.
very next step? What's
Totally.
one simple decision you can make?
Yeah.
What's going to make your life a little easier? Da 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 da. Whatever.
So I feel like that's like, I mean, this is a whole study in itself. How do you help someone?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I think
I'm
that
learning.
that's a key point. I never really even thought about that. Getting the ego out of the way. The ego says,
look at where I'm at. I'm at
well,
point
look at
Z.
where I'm at. You should be there now.
Even if I'm not at point Z,
Yeah.
you know, the ego will say, I'm
Yeah.
amazing.
And hurry up, catch up.
Yeah, hurry up, catch up.
But realizing that person maybe just needs to do some baby steps
Yeah.
first. Little
And
steps.
how do you connect with him on that level? You
Yeah.
know, what's oversharing? What's
Yeah.
coming from a place of inflated ego?
Yeah,
What's-
because
know.
they're even seeing your success through their filters of what maybe they believe is possible or not.
yeah, and that
So
could be inaccurate.
That could be inaccurate.
Yeah,
Yeah, it makes so much
yeah.
sense.
Because I think about, again, I have to just go back to my old self, and when I first came into the rooms, like the people that I perceived as is, you know, really having it all figured out. It's my life was so far out of balance that my perception of other people was also out of balance. My perception of myself was out of balance. And essentially, you know, we're trying to get rid of the garbage to achieve balance. So
Garbage out. I'm very curious. What's one thing you no longer believe that you used to, and in letting go of that belief, you've really helped you on your recovery? Something that someone you used to believe, but if someone said that to you now, you're like, what? Like, that's no way. That's not, I don't even consider that to be true. About yourself, about people, about the world,
okay. I mean, honestly,
about the process.
yeah, I had to just like sit there and like get myself out of the way.
What's no longer true?
Yeah, my intuition, what came in when I was able to kind of give it some space there, is that I'm not in charge, and that whatever this power is in the universe, like the universe is conscious, it communicates with us, and the more that we remove the garbage, the more that we open up that like receptivity. So it, you know, within AA, it's like the AA, the foundation's there. I'll say it, within that context, they would call it self-will versus God's will. So because I would always try to run my own life based off of my limited perceptions and my, I guess you could say, inflated ego. So what did my ego want the world to see? And the more that we can get ourselves out of the way and tune into like how we're designed, how whatever this force is, where it wants to guide us, what the next step is, because it's always communicating with us. And if we trust and we can be in the present moment, then it will essentially give us the next assignment or the next the next whatever lesson it is that we're there to learn. We're here to learn. So if there's anything that I feel like the biggest thing that I'm learning into is to continually be in communication with it, but also just surrendering to what is where does it want me to go?
Where does it want me to go?
Yeah, not where I want to go.
Yeah.
And how to turn that into like actually like the life study.
Yeah. I want to kind of offer just my 2 cents of a
Yeah, please.
complimentary angle for any of those atheists living out there. And I'm kind of, I don't have any attachment to whether there's God or not.
Yeah.
Agnostic, I guess.
Yeah, and this will be like, let's bookmark this. Like, I want to hear what you have to say, but I have a few things to to
so
share.
what you shared with me about dropping self-control and letting life or God, that makes sense even for if I were to take the pure atheist perspective, because for me that would be a quiet mind.
Sure.
Or common sense.
Sure.
Most even rigid atheists, scientific minds would agree that when you have a quiet mind, or just allow your mind to quiet, you've got some common sense.
Totally.
You've got some intuition.
Totally.
So it's practical. It's I actually see both true for those people who do believe in a higher self or God versus those people who are atheists. It's still a valuable insight and a valuable lesson. For my own life, I used to struggle really bad with anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
And one of the mantras or realizations that helped me is peace of mind will give you your answer.
Yeah.
And that for me is stepping out of the ego, stepping out of the reactionary thinking, maybe still having some of it, but being able to kind of wait till the mind settles before I make some decisions.
Totally.
And that one skill has completely changed my life.
Totally.
Whether I would believe in God or I'm an atheist or agnostic.
Yeah.
It's such a good skill.
Yeah.
To let go of that idea that our busy mind and our ego is in control.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I share?
Yeah, I'm curious.
So what it brings to mind is, number one, the value of meditation. Learning how to, I guess you could say, quiet the mind. Because with that quiet mind and with practice with quieting the mind is where this communication can come through. And what I believe is that you can actually, atheism and spirituality can actually find a common ground, even though it doesn't necessarily feel like it. Or intuitively, it kind of seems like a weird thing. But maybe I'll put it this way: there are laws to how the universe works, and this is one reason why I like the work of Tom Campbell, who wrote a book called I think it's My Big Toe. TOE stands for Theory of Everything, because he was a physicist who basically came up with a theory of how life is designed and like what consciousness really is.
Wow.
And so he explains it through the model of physics, and in doing so, he was coming from a completely atheistic background, and what happened in the middle of it is he basically realized that all of the laws of how life operates is the same as what, either you could say religious people, or, there's religion, there's spirituality, there's like mysticism within that. It's kind of a, there's not one single way to really describe a spiritual way of being. But his book seems to have done something to where people from both sides have found a common ground.
Yep.
So it's almost like even what you share about, whether you believe in I don't always feel comfortable using the word God, because there are ways to guide someone to develop a spiritual way of life without having to believe in God as I don't even know what you want to say, whether it's a separate entity or I don't believe that, but I don't want to over describe, but I feel like there are ways for them both to meet.
I think this is such a valuable, interesting conversation because of the AA community, and maybe some people might, I don't know, you know more about this than me, but some people might actually veer away from it because of the word God.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because of some of those steps.
Totally.
Versus you've seemed to have embraced it without an over-dependence on a bias towards one type of religion or not, or
totally.
It's more of a bigger picture, what that means for you and in your recovery. And so
AA has a lot of value. I think it's really easy, and I could think about this or contemplate it from my own experience, because when I first came into AA, I made so many judgments or had preconceived notions of what I thought it was based on what the words were or what I believed. But regardless of how you feel about anything that they say about the word God, it's actually quite flexible and open to making it, really open to an individual's concept of what God is. And that means calling it a completely different name, having a completely different concept than the average orthodox opinion of what God looks like. I think one of the most valuable parts that AA can bring that no one can know until they've really gone through a thorough experience is when you do an actual set of steps, there is like a very deep cleaning that can be done of the garbage that we create with our lives through. And this can happen for even people who aren't, lost in addiction. It just so happens that within addiction, we do a lot of stupid things and make a lot of mistakes. And what tends to happen is that even though we don't necessarily realize it, we move through life with a lot of guilt and shame because of the mistakes we've made. And so the steps can basically almost flush it.
Flush it out of the system.
Yeah, or another way of and I can actually hand it to Michal for describing this. It's almost like walking through the world with a heavy backpack on, and you have no idea. It's so heavy because every time we make a mistake, we do something that we regret, or no one's going to look if I do this. We kind of chuck it behind us. No one will know that I did that. I'll just forget about it. We don't actually realize that how much of it goes into our subconscious.
Yeah,
and how much
we haven't truly let it go.
We haven't truly let it go.
Yeah.
It goes into our subconscious. So we're walking through life, and then the more that these things happen, the bigger the backpack gets, and then eventually we're dragging ourselves, and then this can start to manifest in different, mental conditions. It can happen in different, with the food we eat. It can happen with different kind of sicknesses, diseases that come into it's all connected.
Stress. Completely. The stress of having not yet let go of some of those issues it affects the body.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's all connected. Mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, everything's connected. So the thing that the steps can do is that if you do a thorough set, and particularly with the step 5 and the step 9, those are real big ones, it releases all of that, the mistakes we made, and it, we release the guilt and shame, and then all of a sudden it's oh my God, I can put the backpack down, and then you can walk through life without that heavy baggage.
Yeah, that's powerful. I'm curious. You probably agree with me. So I love how you describe AA and how you've embraced it. And some people might genuinely just not gravitate towards. Some people it might be really good for. And I think Puya sometimes says this. Yeah, it works for some people, but some people it just doesn't. So I'm curious if you were to give. If there was someone that you knew probably would maybe benefit from AA, but you probably kind of know they'll never do it. Yeah. What are some other life lessons you've learned through other areas that you would kind of let them know about that could be as valuable, not in its entirety, but hold some good value as AA does, but without referencing specifically the AA lessons? What would you tell a dude that really, okay, he's never going to go, but you still had a bit of insight for him that you learned on your own path?
So a big part of this is I can connect with the old me in this sense, because when I first got involved in AA, I was in really bad shape. I feel like I was on a crash course towards death. And I made it through the steps, had a very big experience. without over explaining, I'll just come to the place where I needed to jump outside of AA myself to get a lot of help outside of AA. So I would even say most of my recovery has been outside of AA, like the length of my sobriety and my being clean, because as you know, I became very involved in psychedelics, but psychedelics within a spiritual context and within like a container, not just going out and doing them on my own, but within
therapeutic container.
Very much so. And so I have to emphasize that. So
yeah, you said that on the last interview, that and there's pluses and minuses of doing that. You got to have a really good container, a really good guide.
Good guides, good.
Because sometimes people get into spiritual bypassing, called it,
totally.
Versus actual transformation.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so many connected parts. I mean, I would say that even AA, like, it works really well for certain people. And then, you know, I mean, I could speak about my own opinions on this, because like in an AA meeting, this is stuff I wouldn't be sharing. But I would say, like, AA has a certain limitation to where it doesn't go beyond certain areas. Like, it's not talking about how the mental, physical, and spiritual and emotional are all connected. And, you know, a big part of where I take things is like really looking into like my diet, for instance, or, you know, like the stuff I've talked about, breathing or doing cold water exposure. So there's whole areas of life that can be expanded that you're not going to get to within AA.
Yeah.
So
sounds like you AA has been essential, and at the same time you needed to kind of branch out to get more of a holistic, what you knew you needed to build a healthy, holistic life. For some people, AA might that be all they need.
That might be all they need. Yeah.
But you knew that you needed a more integrated approach.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm still figuring this stuff out. So just keeping in mind that I'm still in a process of learning or recognizing patterns or different types of people, things that work for certain people and things that don't work for others. I think one of the reasons why maybe I needed something different was there's something about creative people. And I don't know exactly how to put words around it, but, you know,
more stimulation.
I need, I need
art, music, skateboarding. You're a skateboarder.
Yeah. Even when I first came in and was first being sponsored, like my sponsor was like, we're really worried you're not going to make it, because everything he would say, I would want to, like, you know, approach it from different angles. Well, what about this? And what about this?
Yeah.
And, you know,
you're almost playing more of, sounded like the counselor role, because you wanted to hit it from all these angles.
Yeah.
And
how's everything connected? Why is this working? Why is this happening here?
Wanting to understand how it works.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so I think sometimes, because really it's all very simple when you get down to it, but some people maybe need a little more complexity and need more engagement.
Yeah.
And maybe need to hit things from other areas. Yeah. And the other thing is that it's really hard to say, but there's almost like a miraculous sweet spot that happens in a person's life, that whatever you call it, it could be grace, it could be, you know, there's probably different words you can put around it, like, because by all rational means, I shouldn't have made it based on how, you know, what was happening in my life. But whatever cards aligned in that, and I could say that it was a greater power. It's something just happened to where I was at the right place at the right time.
Wow.
And that's one of the, I would even say one of the blessings that I have had in my life is some very strange, uncanny capability of synchronicities, having the strangest things, coincidences happen that defy all logic and all rationale.
Wow.
So,
and you're the type of mind that would actually recognize that.
Yeah,
I actually have this idea that probably more synchronicities are happening than we're even aware of most of the time.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think, like, honestly, life is like one complex synchronicity after another, and it just is not within our perception.
Yeah.
You know, we have a filter that is over us that basically just helps us filter out a very, very intense reality that's going on. And so we almost have like a filter that comes over us to be able to exist on this physical plane.
Have you ever thought of writing a book?
Yeah, I have.
I want to read it.
Yeah. I
Start typing.
Like a number of people have, like, suggested that, and it's probably, I feel like it's something that keeps popping up that maybe I just need to keep bookmarking and taking notes and like think about as a long-term thing, because the story's not over yet. No,
still learning, still growing.
Still growing. So
maybe these conversations can kind of be planting the seed and clarifying the articulation of some of these ideas, principles.
Yeah, because I feel like what I'm discovering are actual solutions to life and the human design and how we're designed to live. And it just so happens that with my experience and where I took things, that maybe I'm for whatever reason, my calling is to be able to connect with my own history and try. I mean, there's something to be said about healing yourself through your own experience. And I'm like, I don't know how to put words to it.
You just did.
It's almost like, how do I make amends to life? And I think it's part of it is giving back. So you're just not always taking. Like, how do I? There's something there just with helping others through the same pain that I've been through.
Yeah.
And there's also something to be said for most people that haven't experienced pain, that have really crashed. There's a complete collapse almost that needs to happen before people will listen. And this is where or why people in addiction can have the opportunity to really transform, is because once you hit bottom, wherever bottom is, as we know, that could keep going and going.
Yeah, and it could be different levels. So even a light level might be just someone that's their bottom.
Yeah.
Versus this level.
Totally. And so that needs to happen before someone will actually like give up and say, okay, I'm willing to listen. And like, it's almost like, to be teachable, you have to have things completely crash. And so addiction just happens to be like a good mechanism for that formula. If someone hasn't had their lives completely crash, they don't necessarily have the motivation to really go towards the solution, if that makes sense. And
it does.
It's almost like, maybe I mentioned this in the last interview, or maybe it was the art talk, where like, if I've gone all the way here to this bottom, it's almost like I want to use what I'm learning as a lever to go the opposite direction.
That's a powerful framework, I imagine, for anyone going through addiction and on the road to recovery, just to see the whole situation as an opportunity to change your life. That's totally super powerful.
Yeah, that's why.
That's like, I think, from this angle, again, I've never been addicted or gone through recovery, but from this angle of
pain,
I've been through pain, depression, anxiety. Sometimes addicted to bad relationships. But from this angle, that I'm viewing this as one of the key main insights that's probably enabled you, is you take the thing that what seemed like it was destroying your life, and like, no, this is an opportunity for me to learn and like change things.
Yeah.
It's like making the adversary the rocket fuel that launches you forward into change.
Yeah. And that's been a process in itself.
Yeah.
Because there are so many phases and layers and stages of development within all of it. And again, earlier we talked about to get from A to Z, you have to go through each letter. There's no fast forward. You have to take it one step at a time, and it's almost like we can only grow so much and then let things stabilize before we can take another step. So that in itself is a process that we only know through experience. And I guess this is the benefit of having someone that's been through it, because maybe in some way I can articulate that of what it's like to move through that process.
Sweet.
So because you have to have some sort of faith within it. And it's like, it's very challenging in the early stages, and it's all perfect exactly as it is. But if my current self could like communicate to my old self, or if my old self could live in one day of the current me, it maybe might motivate me a little more to push into it.
Yeah. What about the future self giving you advice here?
I think about that. Believe me, I've contemplated this a lot. I actually did an art piece years ago that's called "The Future Heals the Past," and because I actually do believe that your future self can heal your past self.
We do that in the hypnosis work I do with people. I will get them to visit the future self that has already made the change. And get them to imagine what that's like.
Yeah. And this can get into, you can get into like, into the depths of mysticism with this, certainly within altered states with, some of the powerful psychedelics that are specifically geared towards working with trauma and addiction and with spiritual connection. Like I didn't think of this spontaneously out of nowhere. I came to it through actually having experiences of my future self coming in contact with my old self, almost like a vision in some sense. So there's something to be said about it. And this is another area that someone like Tom Campbell he'd have things to say about it. He would
maybe alternate universes, timelines and stuff like this. But it's a powerful way I've found to help people get out of their stuck current thinking. Like literally, I'll sometimes do a question where I just get a person to imagine, and sometimes I'll frame it not even directly asking, but I'll just say, I'm curious, say 1 week from now, 1 month from now, 2 months from now, a you who's more calm, more confident, and maybe you let go of that issue. What are they like? And what needs to have happened on the inside? What would have needed to happen on the inside so that that future self is just completely let go? And the look on people's faces, they just get very contemplative, and they'd be like,
It's like, wow, I never thought of that.
Yeah. And I actually think that's one of the most powerful state of minds we can be in, the pondering and contemplative. It's the opposite of the motivational coach that's trying to motivate you to think right and believe right, and act right. No, I say like get in that pondering mode. Because that's when you literally can, in my understanding, you can change the neural pathways.
Right.
It's like, half awake, half asleep, just pondering curiously about the possibilities.
Yeah, well, something that you said that made me think is we all have a specific design too. And sometimes some of these, self-development guides are going off the way that they're designed. So for the right person, that
at different times in life,
sure.
Get into action. Get motivated.
There's certain personality types that would gravitate towards that because that's their design as well. We all have a unique design, which getting to the Enneagram, that's a good way to look at our specific design. There's body-based types, heart-based types, mental-based types. We again have different ways of experiencing the world and different ways of navigating reality. So this is another, thing that I think any guide has to keep in mind, is that the way that they're experiencing things might be different. If they're more emotion-based and I'm more mental-based, we're going to be looking at it from a little bit
I think it's about bringing out the wisdom that's in that person. Instead of trying to impose your framework.
Totally.
Inviting their own knowing, inner knowing, common sense, whatever you want to call it, intuition.
And we're all like what we're talking about is ways to basically rewire that wounded part of us that's in our subconscious. So there's there's a long healing process in that but it's possible.
It is
possible to do.
It is. Sweet, man. We've been covering some good stuff. That's why I asked if you're thinking of writing a book. I'm like, God, this is... I get to do some of the editing of this, so I get to listen through it a few times.
You know, one thing, it's like part of me wants to be hesitant to go too far into like obscure, mystical type stuff, but talk about like rewiring the subconscious is lucid dreaming.
Yeah.
That's an area of life that I got deeply, deeply into.
Well, that's also, I'll just interject, that doesn't necessarily have to be framed as mystical. It could be framed as there's neuroscience behind that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a neuroscientist, but like lucid dreaming in my mind is probably kind of a form of self-hypnosis, which is a form of neuroplasticity, which is a form of like growing new thoughts and feelings and behaviors, making connections and letting go of old connections.
Yeah. There's a man named Robert Wagner. He was like, his books were the books that deeply impacted me the most with those, because I started spontaneously having these lucid dreams, and then I looked into it, and holy moly, a whole world opened up for me of what's possible. And one of the big areas that he works with is actually healing trauma in different parts of our world itself with lucid dreaming, because when you learn how to wake, you can develop it, so you can train yourself to wake up in your dream. And when you wake up in your dream, all of a sudden you're awake in the dream, and you can make conscious decisions within the dream. And so you can specifically heal problematic areas because you're in the subconscious. So you can make, if something very difficult happens within the dream, it's you can kind of stand up against it and say, no, that like I'm going to make a different choice now. And then that actually, it hits the subconscious and makes a shift.
And remember I mentioned the sleep researcher who was up here.
Yeah.
He's doing work into how to use dreams to help people heal.
Yeah.
And they've got a whole protocol. I won't speak more about it because I won't do it justice.
Yeah, right.
But Adam was up here talking about that. Yeah.
What's his name?
Adam Horowitz.
Okay. Awesome.
And they're doing some great work on sleep.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll get him on podcast as well. But yeah, they're talking about like I won't explain more because I won't do it justice. I don't want. I don't want.
Off the record, you can.
Off the record.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you after. I do have some. There was a few light, loose curiosities.
Yeah.
But I think we covered the deeper, more interesting stuff.
Maybe if there's a kind of a encapsulating type of question that encapsulates.
Oh yeah, they're coming back to me. I had a few that popped into my mind, but I'm just going to hydrate first. There's a few questions.
Hydration.
Oh yeah, I think I know what they are. Yeah, so I'll ask. So, anything was possible. 2 years from now.
Oh.
What would your life look like?
Wow. If anything was possible, it's so interesting because I feel like there's nothing that, I feel like I'm already heading there. And I almost feel like the writing's already on the wall. And this is probably one of the most valuable parts about it, is that if I have a deep inner knowing of what's coming, maybe the 2-year mark, that brings the bar forward a little bit. But, I've had various readings of different sorts that have had such a tremendous impact on me because they've been so accurate, from like clairvoyance, I guess you could say. And it's all unfolding. And so the end story of me is actually beautiful.
You're beautiful. And it sounds like you're in it. So you don't even really need to reach out there. Yeah. You're on the path.
I think if there's anything, it's just further developing my various disciplines that I have. for some reason I just thought of my fasting, because I do a 3-day fast every month, which honestly has been one of the most tremendous tools that I've developed for just developing myself. So the more that I could fine tune my habits and, you know, make different choices of, you know, different shadow stuff that can come up to just keep increasing my healthy habits, then the rest just falls into place. So maybe it's just about contentment. Feeling like, and maybe it's about, no matter what happens, that I'm okay. What is it like? What is it going to be like to die? To be on my deathbed? Am I going to be content? And I know that I'll be content if I actually really make strong effort into a healthy direction. And so maybe the biggest gift that can happen is just the gift of contentment. About no matter what happens. So I could really easily look to what it looks like from the outside, you know, but I think more of it has to do with what is it like to be in a state of rhythm and flow. So because that's where creativity comes from. That's where we get out of our, you know, overthinking. So maybe that's
So I'm on this future timeline kick here. The future you that's in rhythm and flow. Big smile on his face. 2 years from now, what message does he have for you?
Oh, wow.
Might be something you already know, or something you haven't thought about yet.
Be open to possibilities that are outside of your preconceived notions.
Beautiful.
I mean, that's one of the things that I feel like I generally carry in life, but I think you have to continually dismantle that over and over again, because we can get in comfortable grooves to where, okay, now I'm going to stay in this groove. Well, what if a solution to something comes from a completely obscure, different direction that you didn't think of, and you have to jump outside of a comfort zone to jump in something else and have faith. So as long as I'm acting, you know, with integrity and with, you know, really seeking a deeper purpose, that the answers will just unfold. If I can get out of inflated ego, then it'll just open up.
Sweet. And then I just have a curiosity. What specifically are you up to these days? we're gonna get into specifics. Like just generally speaking, even over the next few months, 6 months, year, like, what are you been spending your time doing? I know some of it's the AA community, men's work, but just overall, what's your life look like? Where you're at? You're in Ferndale. Yeah,
well, I have a new relationship, as you know, and so that's been really amazing. It's been really good. So that's certainly going to be something that I'm focusing on. There's something really fulfilling that can happen when you feel like you're understood by another human being, period. Yeah. You know, it doesn't have to be romance, but just to actually feel like that you're understood. Yeah. And so there's that. I have amazing, like, the gifts back home that I have of just being able to be creative and to build things, to do what I do with work is just awesome. To be able to spend time in nature down there is amazing.
And your work, remind me?
Just woodworking.
Woodworking, which I knew,
I have, like, just really great opportunities with building things. And because the community I live in is very, well, it's creative, but there's a lot of old Victorian buildings. So there's a lot of opportunities with working on old buildings and helping preserve them. And also with outsiders and others, the art gallery that I, you know, that works with me up here, there's going to be a group show this fall that's like an artist book. So I'll be able to, and who knows, maybe I'll come back up during that time and hand deliver it. I'll either send it in the mail or hand deliver it. So I'm working on completing an artist book, essentially. So it's basically
of all
just
your
a book.
Work.
It's a book that's just page by page is a different piece of art or a different. So I'm that's something I've been.
So there is a book you've been working on. It's your art book.
I guess so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's a different kind of book.
Yeah.
It's not, but good point.
It's your creativity,
Good
your
point.
art.
Yeah. And so there's that. And then a little bit longer term is next year I have another solo show happening up here in Vancouver at Outsiders and Others. So I have,
Nice.
there's a lot that it takes to, navigate a whole new creative vision. So
You got lots of fun stuff to look forward to.
yeah.
Sweet.
And as long as I can stay in rhythm and flow or work towards it, then all will be well.
It's funny, I've been using those two words as well recently.
Really?
Yeah, rhythm and flow, because I feel when
flow.
I'm stressed or I'm off balance or things are difficult, it's because I haven't been listening to my own rhythms, my natural rhythms
Totally.
of when I want to do things, how I want to do things.
Yeah.
But when I do listen, there's flow. So I've been using those two words a lot.
Yeah.
Trust your rhythms.
I feel like, I know for me, because I'm so sensitive to, if I am an antenna, I'm a very sensitive antenna. And so I'm deeply affected by food, sleep, my breathing, we talked a bit about that last time, the emphasis on breathing patterns is cannot be underestimated. And where I even direct my attention, if I'm, Vancouver's intense, going through areas where there's a lot of pain and suffering. And I notice, where my mind goes with what I look at, and then where my imagination goes with what I see can have a tremendous impact on me. And so, that's maybe an extreme example, but that really happens throughout.
But you're aware of it.
Day.
You're actually aware of it. Whereas that's probably the key, because those who maybe are not aware that that's a reaction they're having, and that's where their mind is going, maybe get lost.
Yeah,
in
that's
that
autopilot,
experience.
and then it can spin out into directions, and then it's pretty wild what can happen with, where that takes us.
It's like the self-audit is so important to just regularly check in, what's going on in my mind, in my body.
Yeah. And I mean, for me personally, that's just that's a long study and a long journey that, talk about the difference between me now and before. The autopilot Scotty would have spun out into all kinds of areas. But the new me can question it before, and for some reason I think about where the vision goes to, because there's something about where the eyes go to and what it does with what we see. And that's something that is hard to describe. But there's almost a self-discipline in, maybe my eyes maybe I don't need to look at something that I know is not good for me. And there's even a self-control that comes into, I'm gonna not make a conscious choice to put my attention on something else.
Sweet. Good stuff. I think we're good, hey? That's some solid
someone
stuff.
We're watching this and they're overcoming any kind of struggle. They're they see your transformation or a little bit what you're doing now, and they asked what would be your advice? I really need to jump into the deep end and start moving forward somehow. They just can't. They haven't hit rock bottom, or maybe they're what's the one or two things I can start with?
Start with.
More of a global thing, because it could be any kind of struggle. Relationship, drugs, financial, stress, whatever.
Health. Okay. Very good question. So the first thing that came to my mind, which I always listen to that with the first voice that comes in, is, and this seems weird for someone that's not spiritual or but there's something to be said about what some people would call prayer, and we could look at this from spiritual perspective or even an atheistic perspective. I think that they both can actually meet. There's something to be said for, you could say that it's prayer, and it doesn't need to be to God. It's almost like saying things out, like asking for help, because I really feel that when we have a strong desire, a strong inclination, this is something I really want, and then I put it into voice there's some kind of communication that is going into the universe, whatever it is. And the more that we do that, you might even sound a little bit crazy because you're talking to yourself. But if there's if you could just maybe expand your concept of what that actually means, that it doesn't necessarily need to be God. For someone that's spiritual, then well, it's no problem. But so there is a real value of actually starting to communicate and put into voice what we need into our lives, like whether it's healing or whether something that can come in to like help us. Maybe it's an individual, maybe it's a group, maybe it's a form of therapy. So when we do that, then it basically opens the door, and this is where these like sort of divine interventions actually occur, is because we're putting it into voice. All of a sudden, we see a piece of paper, or the phone rings and it's someone, and then we just have to be open because doors can open. Mm-hmm. So I would say that's, maybe one of the, might seem a little bit abstract, but I think that it actually, there's truth to it. That and the value of just taking one step in front of another, and having, it's like, how do you say, I'm saying like to trust that there's something on the other side. But
if you're going through hell, keep going.
Yeah, well, for sure. And there's something about stepping into our problems don't go away by running from them. Mm-hmm. It only happens through like actually getting some kind of help.
Right. Hey, I think we
nailed it. Oh, you got the chorus too.
Yes. Woo!
Yeah, that's amazing. Man. Yeah, that was. There's a couple real good out moments.